Welcome to the first YHS Yu-Gi-Oh! Home Series, a tournament played at the comfort of your own home because the pandemic has shut everything down. Welcome to day 2 of YHS, and this competition has been fierce so far. Last time Valkyrie took on the Ritual Control deck, with Ritual Control coming on top after 3 games. Now it's time to move on to the second round. Just a regular guy rolls the dice, lands on a 5, so it is the Banished deck. Dragon Lady rolls the dice, and it is a 4, so she will be playing the Nurse Samochi Burn. This is going to be an interesting match because Nurse Samochi decks tend to do well against almost any deck providing it goes first. But Banish has numerous win conditions that has given the meta game a run for its money. Time for match 2, Duel. Welcome to match 2 of the YHS. Now, just a regular guy will be playing the Banished deck. This deck is very devastating, and if you played against it online or the locals know what I'm talking about. It has multiple win conditions. You can deck your opponent out, you can burn your opponent's life points with D&D Dynamite, you can attack for a game with the Grand Manju, you can go to time with an insane amount of life points, or you can just frustrate your opponent into scooping, which anytime I played this deck at my locals, I have succeeded in all of these conditions. And a personal best for me with life points is I actually ended a game with 80,000 life points. You can do it with this deck. It's very rare, but it's possible. Now, the Nurse Samochi deck. This is a very simple deck. It was a concept years ago, but it wasn't overly viable. It was just done with the bad reaction to Samochi. Now, each of these decks can go very well going first, at least that's my experience whenever I played Banish, and just a regular guy is taking my advice. I always say you start first, so he won a dice roll, so he is opting to go first. Bad reactions to Samochi and Nurse Burn, they all rely on going first as well, because you can do an OTK. So, Pop Extravagance, he's declaring 6, so when it comes to the Banish, there's really nothing of any value really in the extra deck. However, just a regular guy did tweak it, so he can use it. It's just not utilized all that often. There are some targets for super polymerization, which is a staple now because a lot of people use dark monsters in their deck. So he drew 2 cards. Well, he's drawing 2 cards. And if you can get the right combination, you can do a devastating opening hand here. Opening move. Soul Absorption. Now, as we know, Soul Absorption allows you to gain 500 life points, which he will be gaining life points now due to the effect, because he's getting out the Eater of Millions. So yes, you can see there's a calculator here. You need this with the Banished decks, because there's going to be so many ways you can gain life points, and it's going to happen multiple times. So you gotta be careful with Soul Absorption, because where you're going to gain life points by cards being banished, the Nurse and Samochi deck can actually give you the opposite effect. So the Banish of the Dark Lords allows me to search for a Dark Lord Nurse, and what she does is when she's on the field, anytime you would gain life points, you would take the damage instead. So this is why you have to be careful when using Soul Absorption against Nurse Samochi Burn. So we got the Dark Lord Nurse in hand. Set 2 cards. Now here's one of the big secrets I have for the Burn deck is Dark Sanctuary. Anytime you declare an attack, a coin must be flipped, and if it lands on heads, that attack gets negated, and you take damage half. That's half of the attack power. So this can help burn your opponent even faster and protect you. So he's going to kaiju. One of the hallmarks of the Banished deck is kaijuing your opponent. One trick you need to do is you need to attack into it to take damage and trigger the Inferno Tempest, a crazy card. So Grand Manju is out, he has 6,000 attack, so He's going to declare an attack with Eater of Millions, which has 1500 attacks, so the coin is being flipped. And it landed on heads, which means that attack got negated. So he's taking half the damage, so 750 attack. That's the damage he's going to take. 750. So he's attacking with the Grand Manju at 600 attack. Let's see if Dragon Lady can work with the coin. And is also a heads. So again, that attack is negated. And because he is a 6000 beat stick, he's going to take 3000 damage. So that's a lot. That is the power of Dark Sanctuary. And it's searchable too in this deck. Searchable with terraforming and through Demise of the Land. So there's not much that Dragon Lady can do, because once you reach the damage step with the Eater of Millions, the attacking monster will be banished. So yeah, for safety's sake, Dragon Lady is going to put that kaiju into defense position, because that Grand Manju is still there. He's still a strong beat stick, and he'll get stronger once more cards get banished. So he's getting his own kaiju. He can special summon, considering I already have one on my field. Now, bad reaction to Samochi. So anytime you gain life points, you're going to take the damage instead. So we have bad reaction along with soul absorption. So this is not looking very good. Not good at all. So he's taking a chance. He's going to attack. And it's heads again. The coin loves me. I had games where it went nothing but tails. Everything was tails, so it didn't like me that time. So he's attacking again. And of course, I'm really, really bad with that coin, so it fell off the table. And of course, my personal rule is unless it lands on the it has to land on the table in order for it to count. So I'm going to flip again. And it landed on tails, so the attack goes through no problem. So he's going to try attacking with the kaiju. I'm going to flip. And it went through. Tails again. So I am going to take the damage as normal. So I'm going to draw a card. Now, this is what I mean about the conflicting energy of bad reaction to soul absorption. So I declare 6 cards to banish, to draw 2 cards. Normally he would gain life points, but bad reaction means he's going to take the damage instead. So that's a little pro tip for anyone who plans on having a matchup like this. Don't use soul absorption if your opponent has a nurse or a bad reaction. So I drew 2 cards, going to set a card, set another one, and pass. And that's usually how this deck works. You keep setting and passing, setting and passing. And so on a standby phase, Trap Trick. So this allows you to banish 1 card, and you can set a card of the same name, and you can activate it during that same turn. So Gift Card. Gift Card is supposed to give your opponent 3000 life points, but because Samochi is activated, that is going to turn into damage. Trap Trick is a real good card in this deck, so it allows you to find these cards even faster. So of course, activate it, and the damage goes through. So he doesn't have a lot of life points left to work with. So he's going to set. So he's going to take a chance. Try to attack. It's head. So once again, it's negated, and he's taking half of that damage. And he's trying again. Attacking with the kaiju. Will it work? And it works. Tails. So he's going to try with the Grand Manju. If this fails. And it failed. He landed on heads. So there you go. And of course the Try and Guess. Those were dead cards in this game because, well, his entire extra deck was banished. So couldn't do anything with those. So let's go on to Game 2. And we didn't see any action of the Inferno Tempest, which is one of the highlights of the banished deck. If you have Soul Absorption activated and Infernal Tempest goes off, you're going to gain in the same amount of life points. And if the game goes to time, you will win with life points. I have done this. Again, I had 80,000 life points one time, and when the game went to time, my opponent couldn't do anything. I just had way more life points than he did. The easiest way to get Infernal Tempest to trigger is by getting a kaiju in your opponent's side of the field, and you can use a 0 attacking monster. This deck has plenty of them. You can use a Battle Fade or a Swift Scarecrow, slam into it, take the damage, and you let the Infernal Tempest goes off. And that banishes every monster from your deck and graveyard from both of your decks. So that is how you can deck out your opponent. And if your opponent is playing a Pendulum deck, that's basically a game. They cannot do anything. So just a regular guy. Lost game 1, so he's opting to go first again. So he's setting down 2 cards and passing, so I'm guessing he didn't open up very well. So Trickster Reincarnation. More damage, and he's going to chain it. I have no response, so he's going to chain it with macros. So all that really means is that any card that would go to the graveyard is going to be banished instead. This can be very devastating depending on the deck you play. But Trickster Reincarnation, my hand is banished and I gotta draw the same amount of cards. This can be tricky too because I gotta have a really good hand, drawn to a really new, a better hand. So Pop Extravagance, declare 6. So the extra deck I have in the Simochi Nurse Burn is really just jank. It's nothing but Link monsters, but I've done that on purpose. 1 is for Pop Extravagance, and 2 is for the Try and Guess. And Try and Guess allows you have to guess what monster your opponent has in their extra deck. Synchro, XC, or Fusion. And if they have more than you do, they're supposed to gain life points, but as we know, it will turn to damage. So I opened up with a Dark Sanctuary again, so that will give me some protection and some burn power. So there's a Nurse, and attacking for 1400, because may as well, because he doesn't have anything on his field to protect himself with. And I got a back row. He's going to do his calculations, because as we know with his deck, you need a calculator. So he's going to draw on a standby phase, Trap Trick again. So same deal, I get to search my deck for a trap card, banish it, and I can set one of the same name and activate it during that turn. So gift card. It's supposed to give your opponent 3,000 life points, but Nurse is on the field, so that is going to turn into damage. And there we go. 3,000. So 14 minus 3. Not bad for a first turn. So that was on his standby phase, so he's going to continue his play as normal. Let's see if he has anything that he can come back with. Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. So this is a great way to wipe your opponent's field. And of course everything, my banished pile is getting pretty big there. Due to the effect of the macro. So, okay, so he's going to give me a kaiju, and he's going to give himself a kaiju. In this case, you should go for the kaiju that has higher attack power, so that way you can kill the weaker kaiju and just get rid of the monster that your opponent has. Getting the coin ready, because he's going to go into battle phase. Some people go into battle phase and some people opt not to battle at all, because sometimes the risk with the Dark Sanctuary is too great, so he's attacking. And it goes through as normal. And I take damage, with, not very much, but it's, you know, I still have nothing on my side of the field. And it's banished to his side, not mine. So I'm going to draw. And here we go. So, banish 6 to draw 2 cards. See if I can get anything worthwhile. This deck is capable of OTKs, which I've done, but no, haven't been able to do it so far. So I'm going to pay a card face down, face down, face down, And another face down, standard. Very standard for this deck. And this often scares people too, especially if they have no idea what I'm playing. So standby phase, we're going to gift card, chain with bad reaction. So this is going to be 3,000 damage. Right away. But he's still able to continue with his play. Another kaiju. Which is good for him because Marshmallow was face down. He cannot be destroyed by battle, and if you do attack him while he's face down, you will receive 1,000 points damage. Classic troll card, and he's opting not to attack, which is wise. So a card face down. See, the thing is with this deck, if you put a card face down, you have no idea. Most people think it's Marshmallow, not always. So card demise. Draw until I have 3 cards in my hand. Gotta use as many as I can, so 1 face down. Unsure. Got 2 kaijus there. So I'm going to the battle phase and just going to crash him. Just to get rid of his monster. Nothing for the end phase, so the rest of my hand has to go to the grave, or in this case, banished. So on his turn, I'm going to respond. I'm thinking it over here because my memory is a little fuzzy at the time because he still has an extra deck. So I activate try and guess, and you have to guess if your opponent has any more fusion, Xe, or synchro monsters. Now, my deck only has nothing but links in it. So I declared fusion. Most people have fusions, and he does. And in this case, though, officially, your opponent is supposed to give you the extra deck and you look through all of it. So it is a good way to snoop around to see what your opponent's playing. But because he has fusion, it means he's supposed to gain 3,000 life points. But due to bad reaction, it is damage. So that is game 2. Match goes to Dragon Lady. So that was the second match of the YHS. Next will be the final match, which will be Gravekeepers versus Chaos Max. Will just a regular guy bounce back? Stay tuned to find out. And as always, remember to be a good sport, play the game, not the fame. See ya! Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, subscribe and be sure to click on the bell for notifications. You can also check me out on Facebook. The link is in the description below. Happy dueling!